And now for something a little different.
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Baer from SpikyBits.com, and we are taking a look at something a little different today. So, Night Model sent us over a whole bunch of Harry Potter, DC Comics, you know, the whole gamut of DC Comics from the good guys to the bad guys to Batman, to Superman, Wonder Woman, Joker, all that cool stuff. And finally got my hands on some of their miniatures to help promote and showcase for them. Didn't quite get everything. I had some big plans to show you guys a whole bunch of stuff in each video, but then there was this little like crisis thing. So we got what we got, and we're gonna make the best of it, and you know, help Night Models as best we can. They actually have a sale going on right now. I don't know about when you see this video, but something tells me that we're all gonna be having a few sales and picking up things here and there as we go forward on into the summer of 2020. So I always wanted to take a look at their stuff, and now I finally got some. And so we're going to take a look at the Superman miniature from Night Models and see how good it looks on the tabletop. So first off, where can you get their stuff from? Nightmodels.com, of course, or you can find it in some game stores. I haven't seen a whole lot of it on the shelf, but I've seen a lot of it at trade convention things, but I guess there won't be too many of those here in the near future. There is some free shipping options, which you saw right there. And, you know, if you go to the page, you can kind of see some of the new releases. Remember, they got Harry Potter franchise, and then they've got the Batman miniatures game, which I think is on its third edition or so. DC Universe stuff right here. Just in general, and there's a whole bunch of releases in here. There's a whole bunch of Batman stuff, and then the Harry Potter. Here's the new Batman starter that they put out. Haven't heard a whole. I don't know how to play the game. I'll be quite honest. Just the miniatures look dope because they're comic book, and they're kind of like this different sort of scale, which I'll show you here in a minute when we get them on the table. But you can go through all this and find all sorts of different things. Some of it's blister packs, some of it's box sets, but pretty much whatever you look at, like say we click on this DC Comics spot right here, you can see all the newer stuff here at the top. Mr. Miracle, JLA Internationals up here, the Amazons at the Mascara, and then Wonder Woman stuff that isn't quite as new of a releases right here. And we got a Wonder Woman to show you too, hopefully in the next video or so. But you can see that there's also a discount going on and free shipping. So obviously they're doing what they can to still get stuff out the door and, you know, help give people value if you're looking to, maybe for something different to hobby on, you know, because it's not like we're playing some of those war games out there, so maybe you want to try something else. So here's the Superman box set with the miniature inside of it, and it's got this really cool diorama base. It unfortunately isn't optional, like you pretty much have to assemble him on this thing, which kind of makes sense because he's suspended up here. Now, the size of the box is roughly the size of a 40K squad box, you know, like kind of turned on its side right there. It's probably a little bit shorter in case you're wondering about how big this is. And then it kind of shows you what comes in here. You're going to get the miniature, plastic base, character card, and assembly instructions. And the assembly instructions are actually pretty good in here. Now, one of the things I like about these kits is it comes in with this little plastic tray. Like we see a lot of Games Workshop stuff come with this plastic tray right here, right? So, you know, especially like the $45 miniature character stuff. This is $42, I think, retail, so it's on sale right now, like I said, for $36. So it's gonna come with the components for the miniature right here, the character card, a base for it, which is kind of like a slotted type base, and then the instruction manual for assembling it. And these are actually pretty, you know, where you get the G-Dub instructions and stuff, and they're a little bit bigger and kind of fold out a little bit more, usually like this. This is a little bit smaller and kind of more compact, but as you can see, a lot of detail in there. Zooming in a bit on this, you can kind of see what's up. They give you a little guide to assembling resin miniatures, and of course, always be careful with resin miniatures. You should wear a mask because once you get that resin particles and stuff into your lungs, it's very hard to get them out. And then some stuff about mold bonds and things. And then it goes into the actual miniature itself, like assembling the little Daily Planet symbol for the build-up of the base, and then some of the rock / explosion sort of thing. Superman and his legs right there, some of his cape. His cape's actually, I think, two different parts. I think it locks in right there, if I remember correctly. And then getting him all onto there. And some more of the little explosion pieces right there. And then he just basically put this last piece on there. And I think where was his head at? I guess his head's part, no, his head is definitely separate right there. And then there it is, boom, and you just paint it up. And I really do like all the shots they did of this miniature. It's very striking, and it's cool how they do like kind of like his motion blur right here. You know, it changes from blue to kind of red as it goes in to his cape right there. Now let's take a look at the components themselves, because they're a little bit different. They're probably a little bit different of a material than what you may be used to working with normally. So right off the bat, you're going to notice that it is a little bit different of a material, of course. Now this is a darker colored sort of resin. It's a little bit more brittle, but not like in an alarming sort of way, and it does hold detail. I didn't see any slip faults or anything like that, which is good. That, you know, because they're technically on little sprues right here, and I guess it just kind of kicks them out. Now normally I'd be like, you know, I don't really get what the whole black resin thing sort of thing is, but I've been doing a lot of 3D printing lately with black resin, and it actually works pretty well, and it shows a lot of detail. As you can see, this is, and I'll lift these up here in a second, but this is a, you know, black background, and you can still see a lot of the detail very well despite all that. Now it's going to come with this 60, I think this is 60 millimeter. Kind of slaughter based type deal, and this character card, which has got some really good looking graphics. I mean, it's very vivid. It almost looks like a video game for the most part. Like I said, I don't know too much about the game, unfortunately. Don't have a whole lot of time right now to learn new games. I'd rather focus on helping a lot of the vendors and manufacturers out there that might be you know, having a little bit of a downturn because of the current crisis that's going on. So here you can see the Superman torso, leg, and arm right there, and he's of course all jacked because he's Superman, let's be real. And you can see some of the assembly areas on the back right there. Now you might notice this is you know, it's definitely a little bit different of a kind of scale. Let's see if we can get, yeah, you can definitely see the head. There's Superman / Clark Kent's head. It's a little bit different of a scale. I don't want to say it's like 54 or 20, 32 or even 35. It's almost like a completely different comic book air quote scale, because everything's kind of like stretched out almost, you know, like in the vertical kind of axis. So that's really cool to see that it's just a little bit different. It isn't quite, you know, something that, yeah, are you going to play Warhammer with this? No, probably not. But you know, it's cool to put in your display case and paint up, you know, if you're just looking for something different because you're tired of painting, you know, 100 orcs or something like that. And then here's this cape and some of the explosion and the rocks going in the air. The detail on the Daily Planet's pretty crisp, to be quite honest. There are some areas that are going to need trimmed up, but for the most part, it looks like it's definitely pre-washed and trimmed off the sprue. I mean, there's a few chunks and things you might want to file down, but of course wear a mask. I feel like everybody has a mask at this point. And then some more little sprue parts right there. So, I mean, not too many pieces. The cape's pretty well done right there, and that just kind of locks into the back right there. And pretty seamless, to be quite honest, so far. So you just got a few parts and just a little bit of cleanup from what I can tell. Now let's get this bad boy together and see how he looks. So here it is, all assembled, and you can see it's quite a prospect. I mean, this is pretty tall. I actually didn't measure it. If I had to guess how tall that is, I would say 3.5 or 4 inches right there. Yeah, about 4.5 inches. So it's mildly tall. I mean, it's about dreadnought size. If you're into Warhammer 40k, imagine if you're on this channel, you might be. And here's how it kind of compares to something like a Primaris Space Marine right there. So obviously the scale, like I said, is a little bit different. It's more stretched in the vertical, but you definitely get an idea for that. You know, as far as, hey, it's in the same ballpark, but it's a little bit different because, you know, it's art, it's comics and stuff. And then once we get a little bit closer here, you can definitely see more of the detail. Now, like I said, I didn't realize there was little rocks and things on here too, though. It was part of the cape, but I mean, it all goes together pretty well. I mean, there's not a lot of seams to get filled or anything like that, and it feels pretty sturdy up here. I mean, obviously you don't want to drop your miniatures ever, but if it did break, it looks like there's enough material here that you could pin it together. And then there's some different style darkness to the resin pieces right here. So maybe it's just an amalgam of pieces that, you know, just kind of go into a bag and stuff. Nothing that we haven't seen before. And then this piece right here is a little precarious. Maybe something like that you would want to gap fill with a little bit of Vallejo plastic putty, which of course I don't have handy here. I haven't yet because I did want to draw your attention to that particular gap right there that might need a little bit of mending. But overall, once you get that filled, it's not going to look bad at all, considering all the ribbons and the folds in this right here. But you can see, I mean, it's very pronounced, very well detailed. I'm not sure if that's why they switched to this particular material right here. I actually don't know what it is. It's some sort of resin of some kind. It's not like crappy resin or anything like that. I don't taste like gasoline or anything, so it's not a subpar quality of resin. It's a very good detail grabbing resin as far as I can tell, but I haven't primed it, I haven't painted yet, but I don't really anticipate any problems there. In the future, maybe we will get some of the stuff painted, because I'd like to do more with this, but right now we're just trying to get some content out for you guys to kind of check out. You know, with everything that's going on in the world, it's better to just keep pounding away than to just be like, oh, you know what, I can do a little bit more. But I think this was a good video just to kind of show you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you check out knightmodels.com. They have a ton of different comic book characters, factions, squad sets, starter boxes. I mean, if you're into Harry Potter or DC Comics, it's pretty much, you can't do any better. I don't feel like over there. There's tons and tons of stuff over there, and Superman is just scratching the surface. But hey, it's better to start at the top, I feel like, with things like this. Or maybe we'll do Batman next. I don't know. Batman or Wonder Woman next. I'm not sure. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. I think this is a great product for the same price that you would spend on a GW miniature that's plastic and way smaller. Getting something that we know, that we've seen in the past, that you might be a bigger fan of before you even got into the tabletop miniatures wargame. I don't think you can go wrong with it right now, especially in this day and age. So like I said, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit up Knight Models. I'm sure all the companies out there can definitely use a little bit more help these days in the world there.